The cheesesteak is not complicated. Thinly shaved beef on a hot flat top, melted cheese, the right roll. That's it. And yet the gap between the best cheesesteak in America and what most chains are serving under that name is wide enough to park a truck in. The cheesesteak on Subway's menu is a pre-cooked, pre-sliced strip of meat covered in chemical preservatives. At Pat's King of Steaks in Philadelphia, where the sandwich was invented in 1930, the ingredients are ribeye, an Amoroso roll, and Cheese Whiz. Those are not the same sandwich. Subway calls both of them a cheesesteak. We went through every major chain that puts cheesesteak on the menu and found 7 chains that owe Philadelphia an apology and 5 that earned the name. Subway's version starts with the single biggest disqualifier in the cheesesteak world. The beef arrives at the location already cooked. Pre-cooked steak strips pulled from a bag and microwaved or steamed before they hit your sandwich. There's no griddle, no sear, no Maillard reaction, no moment where raw beef meets a hot, flat top and caramelizes into something that tastes like it was worth eating. The result is a mushy, gray pile of beef-adjacent protein that tastes primarily of salt and disappointment. The ingredient disclosure says it all. Subway's steak lists beef, water, dextrose, salt, potassium lactate, sodium phosphate, and natural flavors. Dextrose, a sugar, added to meat that will sit in a bag at a Subway location until someone orders it. Sodium phosphate, a moisture retention agent holding water inside processed beef, the same way it holds water inside a ballpark frank. Natural flavors covering whatever was needed to make this taste like something recognizable. The bread is a standard Subway hoagie roll. Soft, forgettable, structurally adequate, but with none of the chew that a proper cheesesteak roll requires. The cheese melts inconsistently depending on how much attention the person behind the counter is paying. At Pat's King of Steaks, you say your order fast and you don't linger at the window. At Subway, you watch someone open a bag of pre-cooked beef and press a button on a microwave. Those two transactions call themselves cheesesteak. That's the betrayal. Arby's has the meats is their go-to slogan. They also have a cheesesteak, which is a separate and more complicated claim. The Arby's cheesesteak is built on roast beef. Arby's roast beef, slow roasted, thinly sliced, the product the chain built its entire identity around, placed on a hoagie roll with cheese. That is a roast beef sandwich. It has been a roast beef sandwich since Arby's opened in 1964. Calling it a cheesesteak does not change what it is. A cheesesteak requires beef that has been shaved thin, cooked hot on a flat top, caramelized in its own fat, and integrated with melted cheese into a single, unified pile. The beef and the cheese are supposed to become one thing. Arby's roast beef was cooked hours earlier in a different process entirely, sliced and placed on a roll. The cooking method, the texture, the fat rendering, the integration with cheese, none of it resembles what Pat Olivieri made on that corner in South Philly in 1930. Arby's is not making a bad sandwich. The roast beef on a hoagie roll with provolone is a perfectly respectable fast food meal. What Arby's is making is a roast beef sub that borrowed a more famous name for menu purposes. The marketing call was clever. The culinary claim was not honest. Sonic's cheesesteak arrives through a car window in a paper wrapper, assembled from pre-cooked beef and processed cheese sauce with onions and peppers that were never near a flat-top griddle. The drive-through format is the tell. A cheesesteak requires a hot griddle, a fresh roll, and immediate consumption. The moment the sandwich goes into a paper wrapper and sits there while you navigate a drive-through lane and the drive home, the roll is absorbing steam, the casing is softening, and the cheese, already a processed sauce product rather than a melted slice, is redistributing in ways that have nothing to do with what you ordered. This is not a sandwich designed for a paper bag on a passenger seat. The beef is pre-formed, pre-cooked, and clearly processed before it reaches the store. There's no crust development on the meat, no caramelization on the onions, no structural integrity to the roll after 60 seconds in a wrapper. Sonic's cheesesteak is a fast food steak sandwich that moved into a neighborhood it doesn't belong in and put its name on the mailbox. Panera's cheesesteak arrives on ciabatta. That is the first and most revealing problem. Ciabatta is a perfectly respectable Italian bread with an open crumb and a crispy exterior that works beautifully for a number of sandwiches. A cheesesteak is not one of them. The cheesesteak roll needs to be soft enough to compress under the weight of the filling without shattering, and sturdy enough to absorb the meat's fat and juice without collapsing. Ciabatta does neither of those things correctly. The steak itself is sliced but not shaved. Thicker cuts that create a chewier, less integrated bite than the paper-thin shavings a proper cheesesteak requires. Panera uses provolone, which is at least a legitimate cheesesteak cheese, but applies it under a panini press rather than melting it over the meat on a griddle. That produces a plasticky, uniform melt rather than the irregular, bubbled coverage that develops when cheese goes directly onto a pile of hot shaved beef. The caramelized onions and peppadew peppers suggest a chef who is trying to make something interesting. They accidentally made something that isn't a cheesesteak. It's a competent steak sandwich on the wrong bread, assembled by the wrong method, sold under the wrong name. Credit for trying, no credit for the result. Quiznos might feel like a throwback to the 90s, but it still operates around 150 locations, mostly in airports and convenience stores, and still puts a Philly cheesesteak on the menu. The chain's identity is built around its conveyor toaster. Every sandwich goes through it, which gives the bread a better texture than most of the chains in this tier. The exterior crisps up, the cheese melts properly, and the overall structure is more coherent than what Subway produces. The steak, though, arrives pre-portioned and pre-cooked. It gets reheated during the toasting process rather than cooked fresh on a griddle. The difference between reheated shaved beef and freshly griddled shaved beef is the difference between warm meat and caramelized meat. One has edges where the fat is rendered and has developed flavor. The other is simply heated through. The toasting process saves Quiznos from the bottom of this list. The pre-cooked meat keeps it firmly in the pretender tier. A good execution of a fundamentally wrong process is still a fundamentally wrong process. Firehouse Subs is a better sandwich chain than Subway in most respects, and the steak and cheese reflects that. The steak is sliced rather than pre-shredded. The provolone gets genuinely melted. The caramelized onions and bell peppers are cooked fresh per order rather than arriving from a bag. The bread is a proper sub roll with enough structure to hold the filling. In a category full of pre-cooked beef and processed cheese sauce, Firehouse is doing real work. The problem is mayo and deli mustard. Standard additions on the Firehouse version that push it firmly into sub-sandwich territory and away from cheesesteak identity. A cheesesteak does not have mayo or deli mustard. In fact, it might be a criminal act in Philadelphia, adding condiments to carry flavor signals that the kitchen knows the beef isn't producing enough on its own. When the meat is right, shaved ribeye, fresh griddle, proper caramelization, the sandwich doesn't need condiments to taste like something. It tastes like beef. Firehouse's condiment decision is an admission about the beef, made legible by what they added to cover for it. Firehouse earns credit for not calling it a Philly. They call it a steak and cheese, which is the honest name for what it is. That honesty puts them above the other 6 chains on this list. It does not make it a cheesesteak. Wawa is the most personal betrayal on this list, and the one that will generate the most argument in the comments. Wawa has over 1,000 locations concentrated in the Mid-Atlantic and Southeast, with heavy presence in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, and Maryland. The chain operates in Philadelphia's own backyard. Its devotees are passionate in a way that approaches religious conviction. The Wawa cheesesteak is a genuine part of regional food culture for millions of people who grew up eating it. The crime? The beef at Wawa's is pre-cooked. It arrives at the location already seasoned and already processed, gets heated on the flat top rather than cooked from raw, and goes into a Wawa roll that is genuinely excellent, fresh baked, soft, with the right density. The roll is doing everything a cheesesteak roll should do. The beef is not doing what cheesesteak beef should do. At every Philadelphia institution, Pat's, Geno's, Jim's, Tony Luke's, Angelo's, the beef is raw when it hits the griddle. That's not a detail. That's the entire sandwich. Wawa built a beloved regional institution on a roll that deserves better beef. The loyalty it has earned is real. The cheesesteak claim requires the honest caveat that raw to griddle is not what's happening at the flat top. Pat Olivieri invented the cheesesteak at 9th and Passyunk in 1930. He threw beef on a grill and put it in a roll. A cab driver smelled it, asked for one, and paid him for it. That's the origin story of one of the most argued about sandwiches in America. Let's dig into the 5 chains that do the cheesesteak right. Penn Station operates over 300 locations across the Midwest and South and is comfortably the most underrated cheesesteak chain in America. It doesn't have a cool brand story. It doesn't have a famous founder or a mythology attached to its name. What it has is an open kitchen where you watch your steak hit the griddle every time you order. The steak is shaved thin and cooked to order on a flat top, developing proper color and crust before the cheese goes on. The bread is baked fresh daily in-store, a significant detail that most chains skip entirely. The roll has enough chew to stand up to the filling without going soggy, which is the central structural challenge of the entire sandwich and one that most chains fail partway through. Penn Station doesn't try to be a South Philly institution. It tries to be a fresh product cooked in front of you at a fair price. In the national chain cheesesteak category, that's enough to put it near the top. Charleys is the largest dedicated cheesesteak chain in America with over 700 locations globally. Charlie Shin founded it in 1986 as a hungry college student at Ohio State who understood what made the sandwich work and refused to compromise on the elements that matter. The steak is USDA choice, shaved and cooked to order on a flat-top grill right in front of you. The same fundamental process that happens at every legitimate Philadelphia institution. The cheese melts directly over the meat on the grill. The roll is toasted on the same surface, giving it slight exterior crispness that most chains skip. The vegetables are grilled fresh and folded into the sandwich, not pulled from a steam table. Where Charley's falls short is the roll. It's a proprietary bun that leans soft and slightly sweet, lacking the chew and neutral character that a proper cheesesteak roll requires. The filling is better than the bread it lives in. That gap keeps Charley's out of the top of this tier. The fresh griddled USDA choice process keeps it firmly in the real section. We know Jersey Mike's is not a Philly institution, but with national reach, it's the best everyone can try. It wins the national chain category on one factor that matters more than anything else. The meat is raw when it hits the griddle. Every other national chain in this video is working from pre-cooked, pre-portioned beef that gets reheated. Jersey Mike's takes raw shaved steak and cooks it to order every time. That produces caramelized edges, rendered fat, and a fresh beef flavor that reheated meat cannot replicate. The white American cheese gets applied directly over the beef on the griddle, melting into the meat rather than sitting on top of it. The honest caveat: the beef ingredient disclosure lists added water, dextrose, sodium phosphate, and natural flavors, which means it's not a plain cut the way a Philadelphia shop would use. Those are real limitations. The roll is a standard Jersey Mike's sub, not a traditional Philly roll. But in a national category where most competitors are reheating, Jersey Mike's is actually cooking. That distinction matters more than any other in this category. Raw beef to hot, griddle to your hands. That's the process. Jersey Mike's does it. Philly's Best operates in California and was built by Philadelphia natives who refused to compromise on the elements that separate a cheesesteak from a steak sandwich. The rolls are Amoroso rolls, the specific Philadelphia-baked hoagie roll that most institutions in the city use, shipped directly from Philadelphia to California. The Amoroso roll has a specific crust-to-crumb ratio, a chew and density, and an ability to absorb rendered fat without collapsing that other rolls don't replicate. Philly's Best is the only chain in America outside the Philadelphia metro area using them at scale. The beef is ribeye, shaved thin, and cooked to order on a flat top. The cheese options are the authentic Philadelphia lineup: Cheese Whiz, American, and Provolone. The result is a cheese steak that Philadelphians who relocated to California describe as the real thing, because in every meaningful way, it is. The roll is right, the beef is right, the cheese options are right, the process is right. If you live on the West Coast and want to know what the sandwich is actually supposed to taste like before making the trip to Philadelphia, Philly's Best is where you go. Even though most won't ever have a Pat's King of Steaks or an Angelo's, it tops our list out of respect for the cheesesteak. Pat Olivieri's Corner at 9th and Passyunk has been open since 1930. You specify your cheese, whiz, American, or provolone, and whether you want onions. Whiz, wit, out. You say it fast, you don't linger at the window, you don't ask for modifications. This is not a restaurant with a host stand and ambient lighting. It's a corner operation with a protocol, and the protocol is part of understanding what you're eating. The ribeye is shaved and laid flat into the roll as it comes off the grill, a specific technique that produces a different texture and bite than the chopped approach at other shops. The Amoroso roll receives the meat cleanly and absorbs the rendered fat without collapsing. The Cheese Whiz coats everything. Every cheesesteak in America, from the Subway Philly to the Charleys USDA choice to the Donkey's Place cheddar on a round roll in Camden, traces its existence back to this corner. That's not a blurb, that's a fact. Angelo's is a few blocks away on South 9th Street in the Italian Market neighborhood and holds a Michelin Bib Gourmand designation, the guide's honor for exceptional quality at a reasonable price. It is a pizzeria. The fact that a pizzeria is making what most current critics and serious cheesesteak eaters consider the best in Philadelphia is either deeply ironic or completely logical, depending on your view of how greatness works. The beef is heavily marbled ribeye, more aggressively marbled than what most shops use. When heavily marbled ribeye hits a hot flat top shaved thin, the intramuscular fat renders immediately and creates a pool of intensely beefy cooking fat that the meat finishes in. The result is noticeably juicier and more flavorful than its competitors, with a richness that comes from the quality of the raw ingredient rather than any technique shortcut. The roll is house-made with a long fermentation. The onions are cooked down longer than standard, nearly caramelized, sweet at the edges, playing directly against the richness of the marbled beef. The lines that form outside before the doors open every morning are the only review that matters. Angelo's is not open 24 hours. It doesn't have 6 decades of neon mythology. What it does have is the most carefully sourced beef, the most carefully made roll, and the most deliberately executed technique of any cheesesteak currently being produced in the city that invented the sandwich. Go to Philadelphia. Go to Angelo's. Get a whiz-wit at Pat's at 3 a.m. on your way back. Then go home and think about what Subway put in that bag. The cheesesteak has one rule that every chain on the real list follows, and every chain on the fake list broke. Raw beef hits a hot flat top. That's it. That's the whole standard. Not the specific cheese, not the exact roll, not whether it's called Philly style or steak and cheese or famous Philly, whether the beef was raw when it met the heat, whether the fat rendered, whether the Maillard reaction happened before the sandwich reached your hands. The next time you're at a chain that has cheesesteak on the menu, ask one question before you order. Is the beef raw when it hits the griddle? The answer tells you everything. Comment B2E if you made it to the end. Subscribe to support us and check out the grocery store cheat sheet in the description. It's everything we expose on this channel in one printable guide. Thanks for watching.